Hey guys, I'm Brendan Ricks with TJ Free. In this video, I want to share with you my top 5 picks for free video editors that run on Windows, Linux, and Mac. We're going to take a quick sneak peek into all 5 of these programs. The programs are Shotcut, Olive, DaVinci Resolve, Kdenlive, and Blender. And these are all completely free to download and use. They're not limited trial versions. With the exception of DaVinci Resolve, it does have a paid professional version, but the other 4 are open source software, legitimately completely free. And so if you're interested in learning how to use these, I also have tutorials teaching how to use each of these programs. Let's dive right in. The first program that we'll look at is Shotcut. Shotcut's a great video editor with a nice clean interface. They put a lot of effort into making this user-friendly and easy to use, but it's still very functional. You can work with 4K video footage. It accepts a wide variety of images and video formats, and it can also export in different formats. It has presets for exporting to YouTube if you want to make YouTube videos. You can do really good color grading and adjustments. This is an example of keyframing color grading, just to show that most of the different effects you can apply, you can also do with keyframes. The chroma key is pretty decent. You can remove a green or a blue background and then place either video or images over top or behind a video to create sort of a composite effect. And so it's a really good program, and I would definitely recommend looking into Shotcut as a video editor that you might consider using. The next one we'll look at is Olive Video Editor. This is the newest of the 5, and it has very similar functionality to Shotcut. It has multiple different tracks that you can use. You can work with audio and video and images. You can create slideshows. You can apply different video effects to the images as well. Really good transitions and just very easy to use interface. Olive is still being developed, and so some of the features are a little bit lacking right now, but I'm excited to see where they go in the future. You can adjust the speed of clips. You can change the image picture and the color. And this is, for a while I was using Olive and Shotcut to do a lot of my video editing here on the YouTube channel. Also, both of them, all of them actually, that we're going to talk about today run on Windows, Linux, and Mac. Really good text tool. Actually, one of the better text tools, I would say, for working with text is found in Olive. Something cool you can do is compositing too, so you can keyframe like an image like this and create like an animated splash screen or a video intro to your video, or even you can create basic animation using Olive. The next one we'll look at is DaVinci Resolve. Now this one is a proprietary software and they release a free version, but I wanted to include it because it's such a great piece of software, but just know it's not open source and they could end the free version at any time. So that may be something to steer clear of if you want reliability. But it's a great piece of software. It's really good for working in a team environment. Unfortunately, some of what you run up against in the free version is that it's like a limited trial version, so not all of the effects and features work in the free version. It can do everything that we talked about in the last 2 as well, though. You can work with video, audio, multiple different tracks. Here's an example of running into a feature that's disabled in the free version. It has a compositing engine called Fusion as well that you can work with that's similar to After Effects. So if you're doing something more in After Effects and then you want to integrate that with a video, that's good. But also DaVinci Resolve has amazing color grading support. So if you want to do color grading or improve images, I would recommend that. The next program we'll look at is Kdenlive. Kdenlive's been traditionally a strong Linux-only video editor, but in the past several years they've made really great leaps to bring it to Windows and Mac, and now it runs great on all 3. This has some really extensive tools that you can use, very advanced video editing tools. I would say this is more advanced than some of the other ones that we've looked at so far. You can really create some professional work with it, and the learning curve is a little bit more steep. And it's also not as intuitive, or maybe that's because it's a little bit more advanced of a piece of software. But you can create animation, you can do compositing, you can keyframe, you can adjust the audio at different levels like we're doing here. But just an example of the animation, it's a little bit, some of it's almost counterintuitive, I would say. But the features are it's very full-featured, and what it does offer, it does really, really well. You can do green screen, you can do some animation, basically like this, where you bring in something and then animate it along a path, which is really cool. The rendering on it's a little bit slow. I think it's CPU only right now. One thing I love about Kdenlive is that it runs on just about anything. I've run it on a Raspberry Pi. Here it is running on a modified Chromebook. So very low-end hardware it can still run and edit video on. So if you have an older computer, you might consider using Kdenlive as your video editor. The last program we'll look at is Blender. Now Blender is actually a 3D modeling program, and it just happens to have a built-in video editor, but it is a very powerful video editor. If you already use Blender, this is probably the video editor you're going to want to use because all the interface is the same as working with Blender. You can work with multiple tracks, it has lots of different compositing effects, and if you have an animation, like a 2D animation in Blender or a 3D model that you want to convert or that you want to do something with in a video, I imagine it would work really well using the Blender video editor. So it's really powerful. I haven't used it a lot myself. This is just showing some examples, and so hopefully I can get more familiar with it as well and create maybe some video tutorials teaching how to use the Blender video editor. I've heard really good things about it. I would say it's a little bit more of a steeper learning curve, especially if you're not already familiar with the Blender interface. It can be a little bit more difficult for beginners. One cool feature I like is multi-camera support. So if you're filming an event and you have multiple cameras, you can use this multiple camera selector, and it lets you just choose which camera you want to use. And this can be something difficult in other video editors, but Blender seems to have a pretty good handle on it. You can also apply different filters and effects, do color grading, and things that we've talked about in the other videos as well. Well, that's the programs I wanted to share with you. Thanks for watching. Leave your questions and comments below if you have any, and I look forward to catching you in the next video.